Okay, here's an idea. Would you like to co-sponsor a bill in Congress? Well, now you can, and it's as easy as using Facebook. Today, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor launched a citizen co-sponsor. Now, we spoke to Leader Cantor earlier tonight. Nice to see you, sir.
Greta, always good to be with you.
Okay, I've been on the computer today, sort of navigating around the citizen co-sponsor. Explain to me what this website is.
Well, Citizen Co-Sponsor is a new media phenomenon that we've unveiled today. And what it does is it allows people to engage in the legislative process, get behind bills, advocate for positions in the arena in which they live online. And all you do is go to the website of Citizen Co-Sponsor. You become a Citizen Co-Sponsor, and you then can put it on the Facebook page that you know and that your friends know. And it's almost like clicking on a like button. And basically you're saying to the world that you like this piece of legislation, and anytime something moves with that legislation, perhaps the member or the sponsor of the bill will have an online town hall, or there may be a tweet about it. It will show up on your news feed, and it will hopefully engage the public in a much different but much more rapid way in the legislative process.
You know, as I listen to you talk, I can't help but think about 20 years ago or 40 years ago or 60 years ago if members of Congress knew that something like this could happen, where you could have this interactive with the citizens.
But it's phenomenal, though. But it really is going to where people are, and it's just almost like the old whistle train stop tours, where you went to where the people would go so they could engage with their elected leaders. All of us go and have meetings with constituents, whether at a town hall or a community center, and this is just, I think, signaling where people are, where they get their information, where they have debates, and you'll have the ability to debate a bill online. And also what it does is it lends itself to the connectivity of social media. And I think that's what's really, really new and evolutionary about this. And we have evolved into this now society where we're also interconnected online.
As I looked at this, at the different things you could co-sponsor, I realize it's just getting started, is that some citizen can co-sponsor a bill and can then track it and gets all these news feeds to find out what's going on, where it is. But I would imagine if I were a member of Congress and I saw that there was an enormous amount of people in my district co-sponsoring some bill, which may be just something just important to my part of the country or my district, that it might have sort of a bearing on how I thought I should proceed to represent people.
Absolutely. It's about citizen input. That's what this is all about. But it's basically trying to facilitate ownership in the process by citizens of the country. And for so long, Washington has been this place that's so disconnected. What we're trying to do is connect with people in a much more effective way. Let's help afford some ownership here so people can speak out. And you're right, it'll have the effect that the member of Congress will now take note and say this is something we need to get behind.
If you look at it, sort of interesting is that you can actually see the person's picture of who's co-sponsored. Now, frankly, I was a little bit fearful. I was testing it, and I thought, oh no, I've just co-sponsored everything, and so I've now got to unco-sponsor because of my job. But however, a citizen can actually see pictures, see these little pictures of the people co-sponsored involved.
Right. Again, it's all about ownership, and your friends on your Facebook page will know that that is something you're interested in, and anytime you engage around that bill, they'll hear about it because they'll see it come up on their news feed and on their page. And that's, again, how we multiply the communication through this medium and hopefully connect more people to the process.
Now, I noticed that the first one has to do with the tax cut. You're going to introduce this tomorrow?
Yes, we're going to unveil the 20% small business tax cut bill tomorrow. It's called the Small Business Tax Cut Act of 2012, and it's straight up trying to help small business men and women have it a little easier so they can retain and create more jobs. That's it.
All right, so citizens can go on this and either vote yes or vote no. They can co-sponsor it or they can not co-sponsor this.
That is correct. And if they co-sponsor it, what they will be able to do is, as you suggest, they can track the bill through the process. But we're also intending to engage an online discussion about what people feel about this, how it's going to help their business. I mean, and that's what we want to do, is to help afford the ownership of this piece of legislation so the small businessman or woman in my district down in Richmond, they'll know that, you know what, I'll really get some help if this bill passes, because it'll allow me a 20% tax cut, and that is more money for that man or woman and the small business owner to put back into the business to create a new job or to expand and grow.
All right, Congressman Paul Ryan today unveiled his budget. The White House isn't a big fan, at least that was the press release that they released right away. Does his budget have any chance of passing?
The budget will pass the House. I mean, it passed the House.
But it's dead on arrival, right? I mean, to be practical about this whole thing is that these budgets end up, they're a lot of work, but they end up to be dead on arrival, at least this time over in the Senate.
Well, and the Senate hasn't passed a budget under Harry Reid and the Democratic majority in over 1,000 days. So it is something that will allow us to put forth a vision as to how to grow this economy and to deal with the fiscal situation. I mean, we all are sort of around here very aware of the fact that the government is racking up well over $1 trillion of annual deficit, and we cannot keep going like that. And so what the budget does is it says, we got to stop the uncontrolled spending. We have to begin to live within our means, and here's our blueprint to do that, and that's what this does.
All right. I don't know. I haven't taken a look at the budget, and I know it's enormously complicated and very large, but I must think that the citizens are enormously frustrated because the president did send a budget over to the Senate dead on arrival. The Senate doesn't come up with a budget at all. Congressman Paul Ryan has one. It'll pass the House. It'll get sent over to the Senate, and then it's dead on arrival there. Meanwhile, every single American is out there doing his or her job, getting things done, and instead we just sort of limp along here on Capitol Hill without budgets to control our spending or our economy.
So much room for frustration over this. I mean, just in simple, broad terms, the government is spending over $3 trillion, taking in a little over $2 trillion.
So how long before we implode? How long before we implode?
Every single year, and not only is it frustrating that very fact, there is an unwillingness to adopt a plan and to put a plan in place to resolve it. And that's all we're saying. We don't solve the problem overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day or burned in a day. And so we're saying adopt our plan so we can get about the business of saying there's a certainty of focus that we're going to address the problem and then grow the economy. But the unwillingness to even say we need a plan in place, that's what's so frustrating. And we're going to try again. But some of the things I think the president himself said, and I know he told me back almost a year ago, a little bit more, there are going to be some things left up to the election. And that's really what the election is going to be about. It's going to be about who is best put to lead this country, to grow the economy, get people back to work, and get the fiscal situation straight here in Washington.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.